It has taken me 16 years to make this video, to tell my story, to tell the world what I went through. 12 years of abuse and 4 years away. Met him at 18. He was amazing. Everything that I thought I wanted in a man. We had our first child right off the bat, and as soon as I was pregnant, it started. I was thrown against walls, hit into doorknobs, into my stomach to try to, I feel, have a miscarriage. Black eyes, I had a concussion, bloody noses, bruises were just the easy part of it, I guess I could say, because bruises and cuts go away. And but the words and the way he treated me was horrible. I think the worst of it, actually. I was sexually abused, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally. He would check the mileage on my car when I had a job, if I was allowed to have a job. He would check the mileage on my car as soon as I got home. He would check my underwear to make sure there was no residue from any of the men that I might have had at work that day. Because, of course, that's all I did was cheat all day long. He would put his fingers inside of my body to see if there was anything left from any of them. And this was just coming home from a normal day at work and having a 2-year-old at home. I remember this one time our 2-year-old came in and he was just pounding me in the back of the head. I don't even know why. It was at night and he was just pounding me in the back of the head, and he covered my nose and my mouth with his hand and then shoved my face into a carpet so I couldn't breathe, I couldn't scream, and he just beat me. And our 2-year-old walked around the couch and he saw me. Just this little innocent baby coming to protect his mom. And his dad stopped right away, and I went to my son, and I knew I needed to get a PFA. So I did. Got a PFA. Everything was fine. Family helped out. Then I went back. And we now have 4 kids together. And during those 4 kids, I was not allowed on birth control because that was a reason to cheat. That was an excuse for me to be easy. I was not allowed to work unless he gave me permission. And if he thought I was cheating, I had to quit. So needless to say, I've had numerous jobs because I wasn't allowed to keep one. He moved me to another state 10 hours away. I didn't have any family. He's cheated on me. He got into drugs, so there was always a chance of him ODing in front of the kids. We went times, right before we left, there was times when I didn't eat for about 4 days, and we had a pack of hot dogs to go between 4 kids and myself a day. And that was it. We lived on the floor of his drug dealer's house. And we didn't have shoes. They didn't go to school. And at this point, I had school-age kids. So they were cyber-schooled, and that was easy to walk down the road and get a Wi-Fi signal when I was allowed to. And just do my son's work, his kindergarten work, because he wasn't allowed to go to school because we moved so much. We were from hotels to floors to living in a car, stealing food to eat was horrible. I remember when he cheated, he'd bring them home. The one girl he brought home, she was really, really nice girl. I didn't know anything. He told her I was dying of cancer and my kids needed a new stepmom. And I never put 2 and 2 together until the end. that was just the first time. And then the second time, he brought her home, and I was working at that point, and he moved into the room with her, into another room, and just didn't care. I didn't have anywhere to go. I was in a completely different state. I had 2 kids at that time, and I worked. And I heard them all the time. Just, they had no care. I tried to commit suicide that time. I took every prescription or non-prescription medication in the house, every cold syrup, every allergy medication, anything, so I could just go to sleep and not wake up. But for some reason I did. I woke up and I crawled down the hallway while they knew I was out in that living room ODing on everything that I took, and they were just having sex. I heard them as I was crawling to my kids' bedroom and just fell asleep in their bed, and I woke up the next day. Somehow. I have no idea how I even woke up. But as the 12 years in our relationship was, like I said, I had concussions. I never got them medically treated, but I was dizzy the next day, and a couple of days after that, and I couldn't eat, and headaches and bruises, and my family knew, and I had black eyes, but that's not, I would do it all. I would do it all again for my kids. My boys saved me. One day we woke up at the very end, and we're just in a trailer of his drug dealer's house, sleeping on a floor. No food, no clothes. We had the same clothes as we had on as when we moved in. And I snuck out to the neighbor's house, and I called my dad. And my parents have heard this numerous times. Oh, you need help. Okay, sure, Stacy. What do you need? Do you need money this time? Because we're not going to send you money. I'm like, Dad, I need you to come and get me. And he said, how do I know this is real this time? I said, I've never asked you to come and get me before. Which is true. I've always said I'll be there and I'll drive there. And I never did. I never left. But that was a Monday. And my dad said, okay, find a safe spot by the end of the week and I will come and get you and the boys. So he was gone. My ex was gone from sunup to sundown, stealing, buying drugs, ODing, whatever. I have no idea what he did all day. So I called the police department. I found emergency shelter, and I kept in contact with my dad every day. And the day that I had everything figured out to leave, my ex came home early. Of course, that one day when it was time to leave, he came home early. So I was on the phone with the shelter, giving her the address where the police should pick us up, because I had nothing, no way to get there. And he came in the house, and I put her on speakerphone because he knew something was wrong. So I was telling her the address, and I kept the speakerphone on, and I walked away. And as I was walking away, he grabbed a knife and put me into a room. And he said that I will die, and I would never leave this house alive. I would never have the kids. I would never have anything again. But then the police came. So then he just put on the nice act and cried and, oh, woe is me act kind of thing. And the police took us away. I didn't have shoes on. We had blankets covering ourselves for jackets because it was December. And that was 4 years ago. And so much has happened since we left. I came straight home. I stayed with my parents. I finally got a job. My first real job. I was so excited. And we got an apartment. I wanted no financial help from any agencies or anything, because I wanted to do it. This was what I wanted to do for my kids and myself. And I did. The first month in security, I put it down, and I had those keys. I had our house. Took me 20 minutes to unpack the clothes that we had in my car, but it was ours. It was just us. And then the trauma started and the therapy started, realizing what I actually went through was trauma. And that is my story. 4 years later, here I am.